Okay, so I think we're gonna get started. Like I said, if you miss anything from today, it's okay, don't worry. You can catch it again to hear everything in detail later on when I post it on YouTube. So again, we did a part, let me do a introduction first. My name is Chrisie Sanchez. Hi everybody, if you haven't done one of my lives, this is a part 2 sorry, my dog is like whining right now. So that's what you hear in the background. This is a continuation of part 1 that I did about a month ago, I believe it was. I recently I had a surgery done. I did mention that in the video, and I'm recovering well day by day, so that's awesome. So again, my name is Chrisie Sanchez. We're doing a part 2 live talk about the mental health of building a business that a lot of entrepreneurs and leaders and CEOs and supervisors, they don't share a lot of those things. So that's what we're covering today. A quick background on me for those of you that are not familiar with me or know me. I have my license both in Texas and Florida. I am a broker of real estate here in Florida. I have my own brokerage, my own business. In Texas, I'm a sales agent in Texas. So I do active real estate in both Texas and Florida. I help business owners and companies buy and sell their properties for their businesses or their real estate, what have you. And then I do leases as well. It just depends on what they need. From me, I also do mental health coaching sessions for the leaders, for CEOs, for the teams, their employees. I do workshop trainings. Usually those are more tailored to the company itself, what their needs are specifically for their company. Like I said, it could be the main person of the company, or it could simply be for their employees or independent contractors. Hold on. Somebody said they just couldn't hear me. I'm not too sure why. Give me 1 second. Let me see. Because my mic is on. I don't know. It's so weird. Give me 1 minute. Let me see. It's so interesting. Give me 1 minute. Sorry, guys. Like I said, it's a live talk in the raw. You know, everything's in the raw. What's more transparent than that, right? Let me see. I think some people are saying that they can't hear. I'm not too sure. Let me see. Not sure why. Let me see. Thanks for your patience. For some reason, some people are saying that they can't hear. I'm not too sure why. Let me see what's Let me see. Sorry, everyone, just bear with me for a second. I'm not too sure what the deal is. If you can hear me, great. Some people are saying that they can't. Okay, let's see. For some reason, okay, let me see here. Don't know why it's not. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna continue, and if for some reason you can't hear me, just let me know if you can't. I know last time there was a storm last time, and my voice went out a couple times, and I had to rejoin, but hopefully we don't have that happen today. So if you can hear me, just say, hey, and I'll know that you can hear me. Okay, so let me leave off where I was. So I am in real estate. I mentioned that for those of you who came on 15 minutes later, and then some people couldn't hear me, so I had to fix that. Thanks for your patience. So I tailor my services according to what the company or the business or organization needs me for. Besides real estate, I do workshop trainings, like I said, with their independent contractors, or I come in and do team workshops. It just depends on what they need me for, and it usually will be on mental health and helping either the leader, the CEO, or the supervisor, or a business owner of their own company. I give them some mental health tools and how, as they build their business, they want to get better, they want to do more. A lot of things as you're building your business are not talked about, as I mentioned in part 1. So I'm going to kind of give a little summary, a little bit of what we talked about before, and continue. Like I said, this is a raw conversation, so you don't have to like what I say, but this is something that all business owners, leaders, supervisors, CEOs, even employees of everybody goes through it. So if an owner or whoever's a leader leading a company or a business and they say that they don't go through it, that's a lie, because everybody goes through it. Even I went through it, and this is I'm going on my 3rd business. So I had one that was years ago. I decided to part ways from that, and then now I have my other two businesses, which is real estate, which in Florida I own my own brokerage, and then in Texas I am with a brokerage. So I'm a sales agent. I've been doing real estate for about 10 years. I also have mental health counseling. I was a psych counselor and a teacher as well. So if you combine all of my experience from entrepreneurship to real estate to mental health counseling, it's probably around 25 years. So in combination, and I love what I do for a living. I'm here to help everybody, regardless of your experiences. Everybody's in different phases in their life. Not that you need to know this, but I'm close to 50, so I've lived almost half my life already. Do I have the answers to everything? No. However, I do have extensive knowledge and experience to be able to share with you, to be able to help you. And I'm here not simply to tell you how to do things. I'm not here to tell you that you're dumb or you're silly or that you can't run your business, or I'm telling you or stomping on your toes to tell you that you need to do this way. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here simply to give you the tools to help you to be better. We all should keep learning. We should keep growing until the day it's time for us to depart, because that's how we become more knowledgeable, more wiser, and able to help ourselves and other people, or whatever industry that you're in. It doesn't matter. This is across all industries, okay? So I'm simply here to encourage you, to inspire you. That's my biggest goal, is to inspire you. Whether you're a mom, that's another job, you're a business owner. My previous part 1 talk is on YouTube. So in this one I will put later on, so you can watch both at your convenient time if you haven't seen them. But again, simply my tools are to give you so you can become better or do better. Not that you're not a good person already, you are, but you should always want to do better for yourself, right? That should be the start of everything. Your business, meaning you and your business, has to be in alignment up here in your brain. Because if it's not, usually one of the two is lacking, right? So, for example, you start your business, let's say, and you usually are very excited because it's a new thing. You're excited. You get to a lease or a purchase or whatever, and there's so many things taking place, right? And as you get along through the years, right, I tend to see a lot of burnout in that you start dipping into your mental health, right? Because you're hustling, you're go, doing it all the time, day and night, right? But you get to the point where it sacrifices your peace, okay? Your mental health. And you got to figure out what works best for you on how you're gonna work that, okay? My dog is coughing because of allergies, sorry. Like I said, it's in the raw. So a couple of the things that we covered last time was stagnation, imposter syndrome, and discernment. I have a lot of notes because I have so many great things in my head that I want to make sure I cover it and don't miss anything. We concentrated on stagnation and imposter syndrome, and burnout, and we didn't get to cover too much on discernment, so we're gonna continue with that. So discernment is let me see here. Okay, so discernment is the mental and spiritual clarity to know what's for you and just noise. Now, between imposter syndrome and stagnation, usually stagnation and imposter syndrome, kids usually go through that quite often before they get to the point of discernment. When you get to the point of discernment, that's usually when you get older, when you're an adult and you've gone through life, okay? So before you get to discernment, you have stagnation, which is the emotional, mental, or professional standstill that occurs when growth halts but life keeps moving. Oh, there you go. It paused for some reason. I don't know why. Okay, so so that one I explained in part 1, where you keep going, but things are kind of at a standstill and you're not understanding why. In that I put in part 1, and that's on YouTube. Imposter syndrome is that internal voice that you're not good enough, right? And I think all entrepreneurs go through that. You might not be saying that, but the biggest thing that entrepreneurs do, and leaders and supervisors, and it's not only women, it's men too. Men just have a different way of their emotional health, the way that they do things. Comparing yourself to others. Even if those people are not even in your industry, somehow you're comparing yourself when you shouldn't, okay? And I explain more of that in part 1, right? So when you get to the point of discernment, usually by then you know your identity, okay? You know who you are as a person. And that is something that takes time to figure out. You're going to go through different life experiences to really know who you are. That could be in your late 40s, early 40s, 50s. It's just one of those things, life experience, from professional experience, work. For example, for me, I've been in multiple industries for work. I've been very blessed because real estate, and I used to buy and sell businesses a couple years ago. So there was industries that I knew about, but I only knew a little bit, and now I know a lot about those industries, besides the ones that I know about really well, which is food, mental health, of course, children, adults, businesses, the different phases that all businesses and companies go through, from small to medium to large. They all have different sets of challenges. I was about to say problems. So you see how I changed that from problems to challenges, because what you're doing is you're reverting your brain. You're changing to be on that positive path for you, whatever that means for you. Everybody has a different way of thinking, and for it to be positive. So when we're talking about discernment, okay, so I'll give you an example. In business and in life, okay, discernment protects your peace. Okay, that's what I mean about being positive in your brain. And I'll elaborate more why. It helps you recognize when to push forward, when to pivot, and when to walk away. Without it, you chase every opportunity and lose your purpose in the process. And that is in your career life and in your personal life. Both of those go hand in hand. Because in your business, if you're a business, okay, your business has a brain. Just like you yourself, you have a brain, your business has a brain. Both of those have to be aligned with you. If they're not, one of them is going to be lacking, and eventually either you're going to suffer or your business is going to suffer. I see it all the time, and usually that's where businesses call on me for help, or obviously if it's for real estate services, it's for something for completely different. And you really have to know yourself to be able to understand this part of discernment. This can be a challenge for a lot of people. And really this is about knowing yourself, holding yourself accountable, right? Let's say you have all these goals. You have long-term goals, you have short-term goals, right? And don't be so hard on yourself, okay? Don't be so hard on yourself if you have certain goals, right? And you have long-term, right? And some of your goals, okay, you have a whole list. You didn't get to that whole list today. That's okay. That's completely okay. Don't beat yourself as long as you're moving forward, right? And you're saying, how can I pivot? Or how can I figure this out for me? Okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to push forward? Am I going to pivot? Am I going to walk away? Okay, that's in your career too. That's in life, right? In what you're trying to do for yourself, okay? One of the things definitely that's not going to help you is comparing. That's not going to help you at all. And I see it all the time, especially women and men as well. Men have a different way of expressing themselves and what's going to work for them, okay? With men, they want to fix everything overnight. That's their way of doing things. They're very direct. And a lot of times when it's mental health wise, a lot of times it's very hard for them to express what they need or what they're trying to do, or maybe it could be things with financially or something, in their career. Maybe they're ahead of a company, but they have a boss and it's not going well for them. It just, men express things a little bit different. But the path that they go to, the logistics are similar, okay? When it comes to being a leader, leaders should be involved in community. If you're a supervisor, if you have your own company, whatever it is that you're doing, anyone can be a leader, and you should be doing things that you're passionate about that fill your soul. If you're just leading all the time and you're going, but you're not doing things personally to fill your soul so you can be better yourself and also to help others, if that's something that you like to, because if you're in the customer service business, you're helping everybody, whatever it is that you're doing. So you got to figure out what's going to work best for you, okay? Okay, so like I said, in discernment, you really have to know yourself, and in figuring out what's the best way for you, okay? You have to, and that comes with experience in life and what you got to do. I'm blanking out for a minute because I have too many great things. Okay, so you got to hold yourself accountable. You got to be clear with yourself. You have to, I'm looking for a word. Don't work yourself up so much where you start to get super anxious, that you're hard on yourself, because then you start going into mental health. In that, like I said in part 1, an entrepreneurship will beat you down so hard if you don't know how to put the brakes. When you have challenges, you're going to have several challenges along the way that you're going to try to figure out how to deal with it. Okay? One of the next things that I wanted to share a short story before I move on to the next thing. Back in the day when I was in college years ago, and I remember I was studying in upstate New York, and I had a professor tell me one time that, Chrisie, I don't know the exact words, but because it's been so long, but I had a very good rapport with always my teachers, my professors. As I was growing up, I always really leaned on them for help. I was on my own. I was in college. So I needed help whenever I could get it for questions. I always asked a lot of questions. I was always even if it was the most silliest question, like people say it's the silliest sometimes or the most dumbest, if it is, so what? Who cares? Who cares if it's the most silliest questions? Ask it anyway, right? So in college, the professor told me, Chrisie, I don't know how you're going to go to the Ivy League school that you want to go to. You're not going to be able to handle it. You're just not cut out for it at that time. And that was basically her words and a few other words. And I just kind of looked at her like, why would a professor tell a student that at that time? I was 23, 24 years old, I think. And I was studying psychology at the time. And I said, why would they, growing up, I had many people tell me that, oh, she's not going to do this, or she's not going to go very far. And then to have a professor say that, and every time as I was growing up, things came my way negative or like that professor, it always just fueled me. It gave me so much adrenaline. It always fueled me. I said, nope, I don't care what they say. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to apply to that school. And if it doesn't work out, it's fine. It wasn't meant to be. But I'm going to do everything as if she never even said that to me. And let me tell you, I applied and I got in. I got a 2 weeks answer 2 weeks later, and I applied online. At that time, there was no social media. There was no internet at that time. Back in the day, it was all Ethernet that just started with like a little box that you had to plug into a wall. And I would have to go in and click on a provided link that they send you and apply. And I got a word 2 weeks later. So I've had a lot of people tell me over the years, and especially when I was younger, that they were negative because of jealousy or whatever. And I went for it. I didn't care. It may have hurt and disappointed me at the time. But hearing that in your 20s the understanding of it, the way it resonates, the way you pick up on it, is a completely different way that you understand it versus if somebody said that to me now, while I was older, I would understand it, I think, a little bit more differently. So the way you have to train your brain, mental health, is that no matter what comes your way, because you're going to keep pushing in your business as a leader, as a CEO, whatever you're doing, right? The key is to be transparent with yourself and with everybody around you. Because I will tell you, people can see right through you. And your energy, the minute you walk into the room, I do a lot of posts about all that in entrepreneurship and everything on my Instagram. I encourage you to follow me because the minute you walk into that room, you don't have to open your mouth. Your energy says a lot. And sometimes because of life experience or not, you haven't been educated in that area, and that doesn't mean that you're dumb or you don't know, you're just not there yet. Sometimes you can misunderstand that energy, right? But if you have, your energy says a lot. I mean, think about all the companies that post online or retail, or you go into a store, right? So the energy says a lot. Or you walk into a business, that feeling, that energy, those things will get you to purchase something or get you to buy from that person, right? Or that company, or whatever it is that you're trying to portray. So energy is very important. I think one of the other thing for challenges for people is that when something happens, so yesterday, a challenge happened to me yesterday. And for example, right, I had an important email that I had to send. I had another meeting I had to go into. I was at the studio because my daughters are dancers. My older one's a professional dancer, and I didn't get some great news. And I had to figure out, nothing to do with dance, it was a personal family matter. And I had to figure out right away, okay, how am I going to deal with that? Do I need to go to that place? What do I need to do? So I had to, and I had my kids and at the studio, and I had to figure out. So I just kept in contact with those people to see what would be my next step. And I had to control myself, not get over myself, not get overly anxious or worried or upset. Part of me wanted to tear up yesterday, but I have that control. I just prayed inside and I said, everything's going to be okay. It's okay. It's okay. And I figured it out. And lo and behold, everything ended up working out yesterday. So that's what I mean. You got to figure out, as a business owner, as a leader, as a supervisor, when challenges are going to come up all the time. And sometimes you can plan for weeks. You can plan all day. Like I planned this Instagram live, right? Things came up leading to it. And you have to figure out, as a business owner, as a CEO, as even in your personal life, if you're a mom and you're listening to this, you have to, okay, how am I gonna figure out this for myself, right? Comparing yourself is gonna eat you alive. That's another thing that I see. You can't do that. You're your own person. And that's why I threw discernment in there, because knowing your identity, knowing yourself, right? You're capable of anything. I've seen people that you think, how could they be capable of that great thing? And because they listened to me, because I gave the tools, they heard what I was saying, they figured it out, whether it was reading a self-help book, doing something in the community that they love to do, that they love to be they love to be a part of, that they're passionate about, or they have hobbies that they do that those things fulfill your soul. Just because you're 50, 60, 70, 80, don't stop living your life. That's crazy. That will deteriorate your brain. Your brain goes first before your body does. So I'm just putting that out there. I always say in my posts, invest in your brain first and then your body. Most will do the opposite. Because if your brain goes and you're doing crazy stuff, one of them is greed. Greed will get you and hurt you so bad that will kill your brain and kill your business. Flat out. I've seen people flat out right under, after so many years, the greed just ate them alive in comparison. And you don't want that for yourself. You don't. So you have to think about what's positive. When you say things to yourself, even if you whisper to yourself or you say them out loud, right? You have to be positive. Whatever that means. Don't talk negative. Don't say, especially don't do it in front of your peers, your people that are under you or that work for you. Don't do that. Because what you're doing is you're putting in your brain, even if it doesn't affect those few people, right? They need to see a confident leader. They need to see a confident supervisor or whatever it is. They need to know that you're transparent. Don't throw in things just to cover it up, because people know when something's wrong. You don't have to say anything. It's your energy in the room. What you portray, they know it. And some people, when I walk into a business, and certain businesses that I've gone into, I'm like, whoa, this is thick in here. I can really feel it. There's some things, and in some of those businesses are some of the ones that I help for the mental health side. Okay? And the reason I talk about mental health is not a bad thing. It's not, right? I know that with men, they don't want to, it's hard for them to be transparent, and I understand that. It's really hard, but you have to try. Okay? You have to try and keep your integrity. Your integrity is worth anything if people work for you. The same for women. Okay? It's hard. It's really, really hard. Some of you really struggle with anxiety and depression, and that will eat you alive if you let it go. It's okay to be anxious, to have some depression. It's okay, because everybody goes through it. I've been through it. Everybody goes through it. If you have tears, if you're angry, welcome to the world of being a CEO, a leader, owning your own company, small, medium, or big. Welcome to the world. Because if you're going to tell me, like I said in the beginning of this talk, that you haven't been through it, you're lying, because that's not true. You have challenges all the time. All the time. And you got to figure out what works for you. Some of you may be so angry right now listening to this talk, because you know you have to hold yourself accountable for things. Whatever it is that you are struggling with, I don't want to say lacking, because that's more of a stronger word. When you struggling is a strong word too, so you might want to revert to challenge. These are challenges. Okay? So the next couple things, because we have 15 more minutes, that I want to talk about is, let me see here. I have so many notes here. Okay, so the next few things that I want to focus on is failure, feedback, learning and growth, and success. Those are phases. And failure is the same thing as a challenge. It's not a bad thing, and it's not going to hurt you. Some people really beat themselves over that. And if you don't, failure is fuel to be better. Failure is not a bad word. I can say that word all day. I talk about it because it's not a bad thing. That people confuse it with identity and they let it get into their ego, and then it starts getting in their confidence. And kids do that. When they're little, they do it all the time because they're learning in life. They have their parents. Hopefully their parents can help them and guide them. As adults, if I were to ask you right now, do you have somebody next to you that sometimes you need to pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, I'm challenging right now, or I'm struggling with this, I'm trying to figure this out. What do I do? That doesn't mean you have to take their advice. It's just maybe you want somebody to listen to you. You want somebody to help you, right? And sometimes it may be a self-help book. It may be calling that person up. Or maybe you go to church and you talk to a priest. Or maybe, I don't know, you talk to God in your own way. If you go every Sunday or you don't go every Sunday, or Maybe you go take a walk or you take an exercise. I know me, when times are really challenging for me, I get up, I stop everything I'm doing, and I will go walk, or I will revert my time, that specific moment, to give myself. When some things are happening, don't put it in your pocket and just go about your day. Don't do that. Absorb what's happening to you, right? For example, a lot of times when entrepreneurs, they start their businesses for all different reasons. I will say, it's like any career. If you're going into it for the money, you need to either think about why you're going into business or what you're doing, what's your reason, what's your purpose for it, why you're doing it. Once you figure that out, money will follow after that. Everybody wants an overnight success, and to get to success, it's like a cycle. You go through failure, then you have feedback, wherever those resources, wherever you're getting them from, absorb those. Say, all right, no big deal. You learn from them, figure it out. Don't beat yourself up. Don't isolate yourself. Don't go into hibernation. Don't say, well, what can I do? Don't do that. You will beat yourself down so bad that entrepreneurship will literally eat you alive if you're not working with your emotions. What works, I can tell you, what works for me maybe work differently for my husband, or what works for my daughters, my oldest to my youngest, the way that their brain works, their tools. Yeah, they'll come to us for help for different things, right? I teach them to be very open, and they know they can come to us, be honest with us. And a lot of times they just need us to listen, right? And give them the tools. As parents, okay, we're teaching our children, helping them get through failure. Failure is not a bad thing. They teach you that in sports. It's not. You're going to have so many failures growing up, but then when you get to adults, what are you doing to help yourself get through those challenges or those failures? What are you doing for yourself? You got to be positive, and it starts in the brain. It starts here, okay? So if you say to yourself, oh, I'm trying to do this. I have a day to do it. I have 6 months to do it. I'm never going to make it. So you know what you're doing? You're already cowardly shutting your brain down and telling yourself, I'm never going to make it. Before you even tried, before you even went to that task or that challenge, you've already told your brain that you can't do it. So you know what's going to happen? You're not going to do it at all. You're not supposed to have the answers for everything. Just so I'm making that clear to you. You're not supposed to know everything. You're not supposed to be perfect. Because if we were perfect, how are you going to grow as a person? Do you know that when you're constantly doing things as you get older and you're improving your brain cells, you still can get more brain cells as you get older? You just gotta keep your brain challenged. That's the key. Challenge. So you can keep growing as a person in your business. Whatever affects you personally, if you don't get a handle on it, it's gonna affect your business. And it's gonna show so bright without you having to say anything. You can walk in there, have a smile, whatever you wanna do, but your energy never lies. Never lies. It shows. So there's a difference. There's your words, there's your actions, and there's your energy. The most truest is the energy in the business, the place, as a person. That is what your brand is you, your energy. Your energy is the first thing that steps out. I know you have challenging days. We all do. Be transparent. Like a while ago, my brain just kind of went blank. I had a little bit of a challenge for a moment. And I let you guys know I was transparent. All right. I started getting a little anxious about it, but I was like, it's fine. Not a big deal. That's transparency. That's being honest. Take a minute for yourself. There's nothing. If you have bosses down your throat because you're help leading that business or that company, you have to figure out, okay, how are you gonna, okay, what's the most top priority? What's the middle? What's the end? How are you gonna figure that out? Challenges. You gotta be positive in your brain, whatever that means for you. Challenges are good. That's how you grow. After you've gone from the failure, the challenges phase, you go to feedback. Feedback is your resources, your critiques. If you have great mentors, you're going to get very good critiques. And every critique is not a bad thing. People think, oh my gosh, somebody's telling me I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do this. Oh my gosh. If you have great mentors and great people who care about you, those are going to be good critiques. And some of them, because some of those people may see so much potential in you, you're not going to always like what you hear. I'm telling you, so when I first got into real estate years ago in Texas, my brokers were so hard on me because and I never really talked much about it to people, but because they saw so much potential in me, they were so hard on me, and they were trying to figure out how they can get me to see how much potential and how far. And they would say to me, you know, you're inspiring to people. And at the time, I was like trying to figure that out at the time. And they're like, you're inspiring, and feedback that we've gotten into the brokerage here, and people say how you're a lovable person and you care about people. It's not just about the profit and the money. Yes, everybody wants to make a profit, but if you really don't love what you do and you don't care what you do, and you're not doing what you're passionate about, that's going to affect people and show. And they said, but you're just very inspiring to people, and that's why you're good at what you do, because you love at what you do, right? And it took me a little bit to figure that out, right? Because I had to go through more life experience, and I figured it out, right? So I don't know what that is for you. You have to, whether it's reading, whether it's going to church, maybe it's picking up the phone and calling a friend. I will say this, your kids are a resemblance of you. So what in the same, think of your business. If you have people that work for you, those are like your kids. Simple and plain. Those are like your kids. Treat it as your family, as your kids, at a professional level, because I see some business owners, they cross the line not because they don't know, they're just not educated in that particular area. And sometimes they get too friendly with their clients, and there's little cliques, and that's when things can backfire, because when push comes to shove, when you do need to be hard and do need to do things and keep a uniform platform, those people are going to be like, what is this person talking about? They're going to walk the other way, and you may lose that client. So we all have favorites in our business or whatever it is that we're doing, or people that work for us, but you need to keep a uniform straight line. Yes, be friendly, all those things, but once you start crossing those boundaries, even with the people that work for you or your clients. Yes, care about them, have conversations, but you keep it on a professional level. When you start going too far with it and start getting too personal, like I've seen business owners do, some of them that I've worked with are great, and other ones, it's for whatever reason they keep crossing that boundary and it backfires on them every time. And sometimes I see them doing it and I know it, and I say, oh my gosh, it's gonna backfire on them. And every time, majority of the time, I'm usually right, because these are businesses that I've worked with for years, or that I know, or we've done a real estate transaction before, or I've done mental health counseling with them, or I'm in this business quite often for different reasons, and I see it before it's coming. And every time I'm like, oh my gosh, it's going to backfire. And lo and behold, it does. And there's nothing I can do about it because it's their business. They have to learn from their challenges that we all do. Okay, so we have a few more minutes. There's one more minute, but I think I'm going to go over just by a few minutes. So we talked about failure, feedback, learning and growth. So when you're learning and growing, and then we'll go to success. When you're learning and growing, after you've took the failure, the challenge, you absorbed it, you went to your resources, took it all in, see how it can help you, then you've learned and grown from it, right? There's always, when you're learning and growing, there's either a stillness, right? That's the challenge part, where you go to halt, you're depressed, you're anxious, whatever the case is, whatever is happening, like the challenge I mentioned to you that I had yesterday. I could have had a stillness, but I said, okay. And I reflected, and then I rebuilt on that moment. That goes for your personal life and your business. Okay? I figured it out, whatever that meant for me, right? And everything worked out. Once you reflect on all that, and you learn and you grow from that, every failure is a learning and growth and opportunity. You have to think of every challenge that you ever cross is an opportunity for you to learn. That's all it is. And if you don't, every challenge that hits your way, whether it's through business or personal, it's going to affect one of them. If you have personal challenges at home that you're trying to figure them out, it's going to affect your business and how you perform. If you have challenges at work that you are, whatever your business is or whatever industry, and you're bringing it home, and you're not trying to bring it home, maybe you don't talk about it, but you just put it all in here. I know men, they do that. They'll put it all in here because not without realizing that it affects the family, it affects whatever's going on, and they're trying to figure it out. Women, they're multitaskers. They're great multitaskers. They'll either express it, or they have their own things trying to figure it out. Or if there's someone like me, right, they'll work it out, whatever it is, pull from their resources, figure it out, whether it's a day, and just keep being positive in their brain, keeping it. Everything that I do for myself is so habitual, and that's why I'm able to go beyond my goals. And this is not my ego talking. This is my confidence. I'm not saying that I'm better than anyone or you or anything. This is how I do for myself. I'm able to get through my days when I have so much going on every day. People ask me, okay, she has her own business. She's in real estate. She's emailing. She's calling. She's inspiring people. She's doing this. How is she doing it all? Right? Where my kids dance, their studio is 40 to 45 minutes away. every single day. I go to the best studio in the state of Florida where I live, right? There's many great studios, okay? It's like picking a daycare for your child. You have to see which one fits you. And I go to the best one, okay? Because that's what fits my children and their career and what they're trying to do and what they're trying to accomplish, okay? For yourself, you do the same thing for yourself. If you pick a doctor or a hairstylist, it's like picking a doctor or a dentist, right? Your resources. If you're happy with who you're with or you're a client, you're not going to go to a different doctor. You're not going to go to, as I say, a doctor is a resource. A dentist is a resource. A preschool is a resource. A dance studio, a gym, reading a book, doing things all those are resources. People don't think about them like that because they put them in a category: doctor, dentist, community, self-help book, movie, right? Even movies are self-help, right? There's a lot of famous movies that are from a story or a book, right? That moves you, like music. Music always moves you, right? A lot of times I put music because those are whatever music you like. I make sure I have some music during my day, whether it's morning, if I'm driving, whatever it is I'm doing. Somewhere along the way, I do play some music for myself of whatever's making me happy at the moment, right? Depending on what's going on in the day for myself. Okay? Lastly, then you have success, okay? So success at the cost of your peace isn't success. It's survival, right? So if you think hustling, trying to make money, trying to do this, trying to do that, trying to raise a family, or maybe you don't, maybe you're retired, maybe you have your own business, but you financially you're still struggling or whatever, then I think it's time that you sit down with yourself, really look at everything you have, and say, okay, what is going on? Why it might keep moving forward, but it's this stagnation. I just can't seem to figure this out. I can't seem to get to the point of discernment where I need to pivot or I need to make things better. It's because you're not being realistic with yourself. You're not sitting down, holding yourself. Accountability is the biggest thing for yourself. Accountability is everything. Sometimes you have good partners, a good mentor, or a good friend, and they will, because they know you, they will point out things that you know it's there, but you're not holding yourself accountable for it. And as a leader, as a business owner, that's one of the biggest things to success, is holding yourself accountable, whatever challenge it is. And I'm not saying accountability is like death. Failure is not death. Holding yourself accountable is not death. Because you screwed up, that's not death. When you start dipping into mental health, it's because you think accountability is death. You have a really hard time being transparent. You think failure is death. Then you start thinking you're not good enough, right? Because now it's not what you were supposed to do that day. You start comparing yourself. I can tell you there's so many people in real estate, a lot. That's one of the biggest things they teach you in real estate school. And you realize it when I started 10 years ago getting out there in my industry. And when I really started feeling it, I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, I really need to figure this out. Right? I either can swim or I can sink. And so because I loved it, I was like, and sometimes you're not going to always like the challenges you have, But those challenges are going to push you to be stronger. So the last thing that I want to leave you with, because we're already over by 8 minutes, is that in life, things are going to come your way, and there's so many great resources out there in transparency, accountability, and you don't have to, what works for the other business or the other person doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. You're learning from those people. All the people in the world, like celebrities, athletes, coaches, all businesses, very large companies that I know of, they all, believe it or not, they have mental coaches or psychologists on staff. So whenever their employees or independent contractors, whenever they need it, it's right there for them to grab. Or their VIP or admin staff, they're there. So whenever they need it, they can go and work with that person. And if your company or your business doesn't have that, and you want to figure out how you can partner with that, I'm one. I may not have all the answers to you, but my tools I tailor to what the issue is or what the challenge is or whatever you need help with. Okay? Or if it's just real estate, that is too. So accountability is the biggest thing. Your business has to be your business brain, the brain of your business, the logistics, the daily operations, the functioning of your business. There's a mental health of it too. Is it healthy or is it not healthy? The brain of the business, the brain of a human. If your brain and your business brain are not aligned, you are not going to go as far as you want to go. You may get to a certain goal or potential, but because they're not aligned, you're not going to go as far as you want to go because those two are not aligned. And that's from not holding yourself accountable, not being transparent. Again, it's so hard to get your brain to be that way. It is. It's called reverse psychology, reverting your brain. When behaviorists, because I did a lot of behavioral counseling, for people who are either bulimic or anorexia or patients who suffer from anxiety and depression, it's a lot of reverse mental thinking to get them to reverse, to get them to the tools, right? To kind of help them function, right? So one of my tasks back then was the ones that are not high functioning in society because they needed medicine every day to cope, but they just needed the tools to be sufficient in functioning daily life to work or whatever. I would give them the tools for that. So you have to think about what's going to work for you. I may have made you cry, angry today, or the word pissed off, as they say. Yeah, I said that word. And I'm not better than anyone, neither are you. We're all in this some way or another, and you have to figure out what's going to work for you. Do not compare yourself, whatever industry you're in. Do not do that, because there's 20,000, let's say, Emilys, but every Emily is different. There's 20,000 Chrissies, and every Chrissie is different, right? Or I could say, my husband, there's 20,000 Daniels, and every Daniel that I know is different. Y'all unique for something. My kids are unique. There's many different Donikas, there's many different Sophias, there's many different, I could throw out a ton of names, right? And if you feel like I'm talking to you, yes, and I'm talking to everybody. Everybody. Doesn't matter, across the board. If you're in food, travel, the gym industry, health and wellness, mental health, business, corporate, franchising, real estate, whatever you're in, I'm talking to everybody. If I can be transparent, so can you. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it takes years of trying to figure out what works for you. And you have to figure that out. So, with that said, I hope this part 2 helped you. It was a continuation from part 1. Okay? Again, part 2, we talked about discernment. We followed up from the previous 2 that we talked about, which was imposter syndrome and stagnation. And we talked about how entrepreneurship will beat you down and fall into your mental health if you don't figure out how to rectify the challenges that's going on with you and pull all your resources and work on what's in your brain, right? And this time we followed up with discernment. We talked about failure, feedback, learning, growth, and success, okay? So I hope, again, this was an inspiration to you. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. I could be. I just don't have those licensed to me. But these are things that I've done professionally when I talk about mental health in businesses over the years, in real estate, in teaching, when I was a counselor. So some is from personal experience. So all of this is to help you to be better than what you already are. This is not to beat you down, to tell you you're wrong, your business is wrong. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm not here to tell you how to run your life. I'm here to give you the tools. So maybe after this talk, you'll say, I remember that book, or I remember that person. You can always learn from the person next to you. Whether it's negative or positive, you can always learn something from it. And then you figure out, is that a good fit, what you learned? And if it's not, okay, then you pivot to something else. No big deal. Right? So I need you to be strong. Your brain is first, then your body follows. You're investing in yourself, your business, your career life, your family. Okay? So I want to leave you with that. Let you think on that. I hope this is inspiring for you, whatever that means for you. I will put this live on YouTube. We ran over about 15 minutes, but that's okay. I had a lot to say. I will put it on YouTube so you can watch part 2. And if you missed part 1, you can watch that as well when you have the time to do that. If you need anything or my services, you can go on to my Instagram. My website is there. Follow me in continuation. I'm also on Facebook. I'm also on LinkedIn. If you want to send me an email, it's hello@ChrissieSanchez.com. Or you can go to my website, which is www.ChrissieSanchez.com. So there's many different ways that you can find me. And I hope that I was inspiring to you enough to where somehow you will do better for yourself. Because I really want you to do better, whatever that means for you in your business. Once you get all that together, you'll be surprised of how much you can accomplish. You will go surpass all your goals, and what you thought was impossible, it's possible. There's no limit to success. You just got to figure out what that means for you. You can have your cake and eat it too. You can do it all. You just have to figure out what is going to work for you. And don't be negative. Be positive in your brain. All right, guys. Hope this was great. I love talking and sharing. Until next time, live Instagram. I hope to see you on the next one. I hope you enjoyed today. Have a great sunny day wherever you are. It's sunny, beautiful here in Florida. I know right now is tornado, hurricane season in some places. So be safe, and I will talk to you soon. It's Chrisie Sanchez live, your commercial real estate broker of Florida and mental health strategist. I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.